Hey, what's up everybody? My name is Scrimps, and today I'm going to show you how you can get better value out of your Awakener's Orbs and craft stronger double influence items without breaking the bank. First, going to demonstrate to you how the craft works, and then I'll explain how you can set it up so that you can apply this to making any other double influence items that you want. Let's get to it. So, back in patch 3.24, GGG added the Black Morrigan to Bestiary, which gave us access to a number of powerful crafts, including applying a Hinocor's Lock to a magic item. Now, if you're not familiar with what Hinocor's Lock does, essentially it allows you to hover an item of currency over the item and see what the result will be without actually going through with the action. You can use this to test a number of different things on there, and it essentially allows you to save your item at whatever state it is and see what the next result will be, ensuring that you get the best result. However, Hinocor's Lock is extraordinarily rare and expensive, 145 divine at the time of this recording, and so most of us really won't get to access that mechanic much, if at all. However, these two beasts right here at the time of this recording go for about 2.2, maybe you pay a little bit more if you're buying them in bulk, but about 2.2 divine. And the only restriction is that you have to apply it to a magic item. And so if we can get to a situation where we have a magic item that has the mob we want, then we can take our Awakener's Orb, we can click our bad base, and then we can hover over our good base, and it will show us what the result of that will be without us actually having to go through with it. So instead of spending 5.5 divine for the Awakener's Orbs, 3 to 4 divine per orb of dominance, and then just getting whatever result, you can use this to repeatedly check your items until you get a result that you're happy with. And once you do, you can go through with it and finish crafting the item with more traditional methods. A couple of the items here that I have made with this, I've got my gloves right here. We hit tier 2 life with an open suffix. Obviously got pretty lucky finishing the item, but essentially I was fishing for any life that was tier 2 and above. I might have taken tier 3, I'm not sure, but tier 2 and above with any open suffix so that I would be able to craft on prefixes can't be changed and finish the craft. Likewise over here we made this item as well. We were fishing for either tier 1 accuracy, tier 1 suppression, or tier 1 intelligence in the 3rd suffix slot, and then we finished the item using traditional methods like harvest and veiled orb. Now one thing you can do is prepare multiple bases, so if you see a result that you might want to keep and you're not sure about, you can set it off to the side and then take another base that you have, apply the Hinocor's Lock to it, and check a different result. And I'll show you how that works here. Just one second, I gotta kill these guys first. All right, so now we've got a lock on this item. And so this one, if we go over here, we see this one does have a tier 2 life roll, but it also has all 3 suffixes full, which means we would need to hit a 50-50 and all on it. Now, I might decide just to do that, just YOLO it and see what happens, but I wasn't really sure about it yet, so I left that one off to the side and prepared a different base. Now, since we have this other base, we can take a look at this one, and this one, you know, it's okay. Like, it's got the resistance really doesn't matter. It's got an open prefix, so we could try to get a new prefix on there, and it has an open suffix, so we can protect our prefixes, but I would probably wind up tossing this one back. And so then if you have a result that you don't like, what you can do is, you know, hover over it with a Sacred Orb, see what the Sacred Orb's doing to it, check what the Blessed Orb's doing to it. You can check and see what an Omen of Blanching would do to it. You've got all of those different options, and if none of those go through, what you can go ahead and do is just go ahead and toss a fusing on there. It'll reset your lock, and then you can go again. Alright, so now that we've gone over the Awakener's Orb and Beastcraft and how to properly implement the interaction, we need to talk about how we're going to set up our bases for the craft. In the cases of weapons and jewelry, where you don't have access to elevated mods, this is fairly simple. You just spam Orb of Alteration, apply the Beast Lock, and then start checking results. However, in the case of items where you want influence mods, you're going to have to go through a bit more of a process in order to isolate that mod onto a magic item. And so what I've done is I've typed up this document, and I'm going to link it in the description below as well. I've just outlined 3 different methods that I found various amounts of success with and weighed the pros and cons of those methods. And to briefly go over those here in the video as well, method 1 is just spamming Orb of Alteration until you hit your desired affix, using an Orb of Augmentation if necessary, and then using a Regal Orb to turn it into a rare item. If you hit an influence mod, great, you won. If not, you're going to have to scour and go again. And so this method is fairly cheap, but it does take some time because it might take you many tries to hit your second mod. And so this method is much worse if your desired mod that you're looking to elevate is something that has a very low weighting. I would only recommend using this if the mod that you're looking for is a little more on the common side. Method 2 is spamming either Chaos Orbs or Alchemy and Scouring until you hit your desired affix along with a second influence mod. If there are other modifiers besides the influence mods on that same side as your desired mod, you're going to have to annul to get rid of them. And obviously, if you hit your influence mod or the other influence mod, you're going to have to repeat the process. This method can be fairly quick with Chaos Orbs or fairly cheap with Alchemist Scour, but the downside is if you choose Chaos Orbs, obviously it's quite a bit more expensive, and if you choose Alchemist Scour, it's going to take a lot of time. It can honestly feel kind of icky to do, and you're going to have to hit an Orb of Annulment at some point. But overall, this is a decent method to get there, especially if you have a mod that's particularly rare. You might go with Alchemist Scour just for how cheap it is and seeing more modifiers. Method 3 is just using traditional methods to get the second influence modifier on there. You'll alteration spam till you find your desired mod. You'll aug and regal. Obviously, if you hit the lottery, great. But if not, you can craft prefixes or suffixes can't be changed and then use the harvest bench to target a different influence modifier. The upside of this method is that it is by far the fastest of these 3 methods at getting you to this place you need to be. However, it is also the most expensive by a large margin because you're going to have to spend 2 divine every time you lock to get the second influence mod, and then you're likely going to have to annul to be able to isolate your desired affix. And obviously if you lose, you're going to have to go again, so it's 2 more divine. If you lose your good mod, you're going to have to, go the entire item again. Sometimes you're going to fill up and have to annul that way. And so there's a lot of risk and cost involved with this method, but if currency is not at all an issue to you, then this would probably be the fastest method of getting there. And that just about wraps it up for me. Hopefully this helps you get better results out of your Awakener's Orbs, whether you're crafting for yourself or for profit. I'm going to have the text guide, like I said, in the description below, along with a link to my stream at twitch.tv/scrimps. I'll be live right after I post this video, and I'm live most evenings, so come on over and say hey. And if you have any questions, you can leave them in the comments below. I do my best to get to everything as quickly as I can. The goal of my content is I really want to make crafting feel a little more accessible to people, because I think there's this stigma with PoE crafting that it's extremely difficult and requires insane knowledge of all of these game systems. And in the case of some crafts, this is definitely true. But I think for a lot of people, if you spend a little bit of time learning to craft, you have access to so much better gear than what you would get if you were just going and buying it from trade. Anyways, that's it for me. Take care of yourselves. Peace.